Jealousy headcannons. Separate. Player 120. Now, he's the type of person who doesn't like to admit when something is bothering him. He's calm, reserved, and prides himself on being level-headed. But when jealousy strikes, it tests his patience. Silent observation. At first, he watches quietly from the sidelines. If someone gets too close to Yan, he won't jump in immediately. Instead, he'll study the situation, trying to determine whether it's harmless or a real threat. Polite, but sharp interventions. If the person lingers too long around Yan for a bit much, he'll step in, casually at first, a firm hand on Yan's lower back, a sharp but polite smile directed at the, quote, intruder, unquote, and a cool, "Is there anything you need?" are his go-to moves. Physical proximity. He becomes more touchy than usual, though subtly draping an arm for Yan's shoulders, fingers brushing against theirs, silent reminders that they belong to him. Jealousy, but rational. He never lets his jealousy consume him. He knows trust is important and that it doesn't mean he enjoys Yan getting attention from others, especially when he sees it. If someone is particularly present, he'll have a private conversation with Yan, expressing his concerns in his usual calm but firm manner. The soft side. If Yan reassures him with a hug and a kiss and just a few sweet words, he melts almost instantly, a small smirk tugging at his lips. He murmurs, "I wasn't worried, just keeping an eye out." Player 124. Now, they're not subtle when they're jealous. They're expressive, stubborn, and absolutely terrible at hiding their emotions. If they feel threatened, everyone around them is going to know about it. Immediate pouting. The second he notices someone is trying to flirt with Yan, his entire demeanor changes, his arms cross and his lips press into a fine, thin line, and he glares at the offender like they just insulted his entire existence. Interrupting conversations. If Yan is talking to someone who's getting 8-bit too friendly, he has no problem butting in. He'll drape himself over Yan, dramatically whining. "Yan, are you really gonna ignore me for this random person?" he'll say. Over-the-top affection. He will absolutely become extra clingy. Holding hands? Too basic. He's wrapping arms around Yan's waist and pressing kisses to their temple and making it very obvious that they're taken. Petty competition. If the person in question tries to impress Yan, he'll take it as a challenge. Oh, they think they're funny? Well, guess what? He's gonna crack twice as many jokes now. They're good at something? He suddenly wants to prove he's better. Sulking and needing reassurance. If Yan doesn't immediately shower him with attention, he gets moody. He'll pull up onto the couch, arms crossed dramatically, sighing every few minutes until Yan finally asks, "What's wrong?" Melts with compliments. As much as he acts possessive, he just needs reassurance. The second Yan kisses his cheek and tells him, "You're the only one I love," his jealousy seems to disappear, replaced by a smug, satisfied grin. Player 230. Thanos is not the type to get obviously jealous, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel it. He is powerful, intelligent, and used to being in control. So the idea of someone trying to take what's his is both amusing and quite infuriating. Cold and calculated. Unlike some others' antics, Thanos plays along. He plays the long game. If someone's trying to flirt with Yan, he doesn't react immediately. He watches, analyzing every movement, every word, waltzing, waiting to see if the person crosses that thin line. Intimidation tactics. If he decides that someone's being too bold, he steps in with his presence alone. He doesn't need to say much, just one long, asserting stare is usually enough to make the person rethink their life choices. dominance in subtle ways. Thanos isn't the type to outwardly be affectionate in public, but when he's jealous, he makes sure to let YN know exactly who they belong to. A firm hand on their lower back, fingers ghosting over their pulse, a quiet but deep "come here" spoken into their ear. Testing loyalty. If his jealousy runs deep, he may test YN. Nothing obvious, just small things. Does YN notice his irritation? Do they prioritize him over whoever's bothering him? If YN reassures him without needing to be prompted, his smirk returns. Good. You always know where you belong, he'll say. Territorial but not overbearing. He's possessive but not really controlling. It's more of a kind of ownership thing. He doesn't stop YN from talking to others, just ensures that nothing and no one gets the wrong idea. Jealousy turned into passion. The second they're alone, YN will feel his possessiveness, the way he kisses them, the way his grip tightens, the way his voice drops into a dangerous whisper. You're mine. Don't forget that, he'll say. No matter how they express their jealousy, one thing is clear. They don't like sharing. YN is their person, and they know everyone will be aware of it. Makeup headcannons. After a bout of jealousy, each of them has their own way of making up to YN, whether it's through quiet understanding, or dramatic affection, or possessive reassurances. Player 120. Now, he isn't the type to hold a grudge. He values logic over emotions, but that doesn't mean he's completely immune to feelings. If his jealousy led to a cold shoulder or a tense silence, he'll want to fix things sooner than later. Giving YN space. At first. If he realizes his jealousy has upset YN, he won't push them immediately. Instead, he'll give them space, trusting that they'll both calm down before talking. Subtle apologies. They aren't the type to outright say I'm sorry, unless he truly believes he was in the wrong. Instead, he shows it by small affections, bringing YN their favorite drink, brushing their hair out of their face, or lingering just a little bit closer than usual. A quiet conversation. Eventually he'll approach YN, his voice calm as he says, "We should talk." He doesn't waste time with excuses. If he was too possessive, he acknowledges it. "I didn't like the way they were looking at you, but that doesn't mean I should have reacted the way I did," he'll say. Physical reassurances. Once things are settled, he'll pull YN into a tight embrace, resting a chin on their head. He won't say much, but the way he holds them speaks volumes. Soft confessions. After a long moment of silence, he'll finally murmur, "I just don't like the idea of someone else tugging you away from me." It's rare for him to be this vulnerable, but he is, and it's genuine. Making up through actions. He's not overly affectionate in public, but after a fight, he is more than inclined to hold YN's hand or kiss their forehead. It's his way of making up for his jealousy, without actually saying the words. Player 124. He's terrible at dealing with conflict. If his jealousy led to a fight, he's not going to sit quietly and wait for things to blow over. He wants immediate resolution. Dramatic apologies. The second he realizes YN is upset, he goes into full puppy mode. He'll flip onto the couch, sighing dramatically. "YN, please, I can't take this tension. Just yell at me if you have to. Just don't ignore me," he'll plead. Clingy and needy. He hates when YN gives him the cold shoulder. If they refuse to talk to him, he resorts to more desperate measures, wrapping himself around them like a koala, nuzzling into the neck and whining. "Come on. You know I didn't mean to be annoying," he'll say, making them laugh. If YN is still mad, he'll pull out his ultimate weapon, humor, and make silly faces, fake sob dramatically, or even start an impromptu song about how much he regrets being jealous. Genuine apology. Eventually. Once the playful antics settle, he'll get serious. He tucks Ryan into a tight hug and mutters, I just don't like when people think they can take you away from me. I know I could be a little much, but I promise I trust you. He'll whisper, waking up through touch. Once Ryan forgives him, he's extra affectionate. He'll pepper kisses all over the face, hold their hands everywhere they go, and make sure everyone knows that they've made up. Final dramatic gesture. Just for good measure, he'll say something ridiculous like, let me prove you my love by cooking you dinner, which may or may not result in a disastrous kitchen mishap. Player 230, Thanos. Now, he doesn't like admitting when he's wrong. He's powerful, logical, and emotions are often seen as weaknesses, but when it comes to... He's forced to confront his feelings, even if it takes him a while. Silent reflection. If his jealousy has led to tension, he'll spend some time alone, thinking about what's happened. Unlike the others, he doesn't immediately rush to fix things. He lets the dust settle. A subtle approach. Instead of apologizing outright, he simply appears by Ryan's side, standing quietly as if waiting for them to acknowledge him. If they don't, he sighs and finally speaks. You're upset? He states, not a question but a fact. Blunt honesty. Thanos doesn't sugarcoat his words. I acted possessively. It wasn't my intention to make you upset. He doesn't stumble over excuses. He simply acknowledges what happened. In an unexpected soft side, after a long pause, he finally adds, I don't feel this way. It's unsettling. It's rare for him to be vulnerable. And that alone shows how much Ryan means to him. Physical reaccommodation. Words aren't a strong suit, but actions are. Once things are settled, he pulls Ryan close, his forehead resting against theirs, a very intimate gesture. Possessiveness in a different way. After making up, he reaffirms his claim, but in a softer, more possessive way. You're mine, but I need to trust that you'll stay. That's something I'll work on. Grand gestures, unlike the others. Chaotic attempts, Thanos' way of making up involves giving Ryan something meaningful, something that signifies his devotion, whether it's a rare artifact, whatever. And these were 3 jealousy headcannons from Squid Game. Let me know who you want to stay next. Goodbye.